From a humble fishing village to a global economic powerhouse, Singapore, a city-state that defies the odds. Its rise as a trading power is nothing short of extraordinary. Nestled at the crossroads of major global trade routes, this tiny island with no natural resources has constantly punched above its weight, demonstrating unparalleled resilience and vision. Today, it stands as a beacon of innovation and connectivity, home to one of the world's busiest ports and a thriving financial hub. But how? How did a small city island like Singapore achieve such rise? What historical challenges did it overcome, and what bold strategies propelled it into the ranks of global giants? You see, Singapore's ascent is not just about economic success and transformative power of visionary leadership. There's more to it than that. Join us in Singapore's story. The story of Singapore begins long before its modern rise. In the 14th century, the island was known as Temasek, a bustling maritime hub. Its name later would change to become Singapura, meaning Lion City, inspired by a legend involving a Sumatran prince who spotted a lion upon arrival. At that time, Temasek served as a key waypoint for regional trade between China, India, and Southeast Asia, making it quite essential for connecting diverse cultures and trading goods. Despite its early prominence, Singapore's fortune fluctuated due to shifting trade routes and regional conflicts. By the time the British arrived in the 19th century, the island was a quiet fishing village with immense untapped potential. However, this potential, as fate would have it, was immediately recognized by Sir Stamford Raffles in the year 1819 upon the British arrival to the island. Stamford's establishment of a British trading post on the island would alter its trajectory forever. He negotiated with the local Malay leaders to secure Singapore as a strategic port. What really set Singapore apart was its designation as a free port, a revolutionary concept in a world dominated by tariffs and colonial monopolies. This vision of establishment that was created by Stamford had attracted traders from across the globe. Chinese, Indian, Malay, and even Arab merchants flocked to the island, creating a diverse and vibrant commercial hub that laid the foundation for its multicultural identity. Of course, to keep in mind that at this time in the 19th and 20th century, Singapore is an island of colonial presence. It was under the British rule. It was not independent. Nevertheless, Singapore flourished as a free port. By the mid-19th century, it had become Southeast Asia's busiest trading center. The island's strategic location along the Malacca Strait made it indispensable for trade routes connecting Europe, Asia, and the Pacific. Of course, this prosperity did not only attract traders from around the world, it also attracted immigrants. The Chinese community in particular became the largest ethnic group, dominating industries like trade, mining, and banking. Indian laborers contributed to the infrastructure projects, while Malay communities continued traditional livelihoods like fishing and agriculture. Together, these groups shaped the social and economic fabric of colonial Singapore. While the strategic location of Singapore was important for its flourishing, it wasn't without its downside. You see, due to that location, the island was coveted by the fighting forces in World War II. In fact, in February 1942, Japanese forces launched a swift and devastating campaign, overwhelming British defenses and capturing the island. The fall of Singapore, often referred to as Britain's greatest defeat, marked a dark chapter in its history. The subsequent 3-year occupation by Japan was characterized by widespread suffering, including food shortages, forced labors, and acts of brutality that left deep scars on the local population. When the war ended in 1945, relief swept through the island, but it also exposed the weaknesses of colonial governance. The hardships endured during the war fueled calls for a greater self-determination and a desire to break free from the constraints of the British rule. These sentiments eventually led to Singapore's merger with Malaysia in 1963, an arrangement aimed at securing economic and political stability. However, the union was shortly lived. deeply rooted political, economic, and cultural differences between Singapore and Malaysia soon surfaced, resulting in growing tensions and eventually leading to the breakup of their union. Left to chart its own path, Singapore faced a daunting future. As a small, resource-poor nation with no natural hinterland, survival seemed uncertain. Yet, this moment of vulnerability also marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey, driven by the determination to turn challenges into opportunities and build a nation that could thrive against all odds. Independence for Singapore was both a challenge and an opportunity. Under the leadership of Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore embarked ambitiously to secure its future. Recognizing its lack of natural resources, the government focused on developing its greatest asset, the people of Singapore. Of course, industrialization became a cornerstone of this strategy. The Jurong Industrial Estate, launched in the 1960s, entirely transformed Singapore into a hub for manufacturing. At the same time, the government courted multinational corporations with promises of political stability and a pro-business environment. Housing, education, and healthcare reforms ensured that citizens were equipped to participate in the nation's growth. The creation of the Housing Development Board provided affordable homes for the masses, while investments in education produced a skilled workforce. Alongside these efforts, Singapore's leadership understood that its geographic advantage as a trading hub could be leveraged further, and once again, the port, already a vital part of the economy during colonial times, required modernization to keep pace with global developments. Shipping and trade had always been intrinsic to the island's identity, and this was now integrated into its larger vision for economic development. Improvements to port infrastructure began in tandem with industrialization projects, ensuring that the two sectors would reinforce each other in driving growth. By linking the industrial and port strategies, Singapore achieved a unique synergy. You see, the growing manufacturing base in Jurong required efficient shipping routes for both importing and exporting raw materials. In turn, the port's expansion created the logistical backbone necessary to support burgeoning industries. This mutual reinforcement solidified Singapore's position as a vital node in global trade networks, laying the foundation for the country's economic success in the decades to come. The success of Singapore's port cannot be overstated. From its early days as colonial trading post, the port of Singapore evolved into a linchpin of global trade. The decision to embrace containerization in the 1970s was pivotal. This innovation revolutionized global shipping, and Singapore positioned itself at the forefront of this transformation. By investing in state-of-the-art container terminals and adopting cutting-edge logistic practices, the port became a benchmark for efficiency. Today, it handles millions of containers annually, connecting over 600 ports worldwide. The Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore, established in 1996, oversees operations with unmatched productivity. The ongoing Tuas Mega Port project exemplifies the city-state's commitment to staying ahead, incorporating advanced technologies like automation and artificial intelligence. Singapore's foresight in linking port development with industrialization and trade policy ensured its rise as a global trading power. By continuously adapting to the demands of the global economy, it has maintained its status as a vital node in the world's supply chain. As Singapore's economy grew, diversification became essential to reduce reliance on any single sector. By the 1980s, the city-state had transformed into a global financial hub. The establishment of the Monetary Authority of Singapore and the growth of the Singapore Stock Exchange positioned the country as a leader in global finance. Concurrently, investments in research and development propelled Singapore into industries like biotechnology, pharmaceuticals, and advanced manufacturing. Singapore's success, on the other hand, has not come without challenges. Its reliance on global trade makes it vulnerable to economic downturns and geopolitical tensions. The COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, was quite the test of the resilience of Singapore's economy and healthcare system. Climate change is another existential threat to Singapore. Rising sea levels and extreme weather events could have devastating impacts on the island. To combat this, Singapore has invested heavily in sustainability, including the Singapore Green Plan 2030 and infrastructure projects like seawalls and green buildings. It is important to mention that at the heart of Singapore's success are its people. From the laborers who built its early infrastructure to the innovators driving its future, their resilience and ingenuity have been crucial. Today, Singapore exemplifies what a small nation can achieve with a vision and determination. Its skyline featuring landmarks like Marina Bay Sands and the Super Tree Grove reflects its transformation into a modern metropolis. Being the home to over 5.6 million people, Singapore thrives on cultural diversity and social harmony. Adding to all that, Singapore's passport is ranked as the most powerful in the world, highlighting the nation's global connectivity and influence. This is our video for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to give it thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to our channel.